if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Ask me how we got here, 'cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown. But we both know how to swim, no worries, let's flow for now. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow.
What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City video. Today we're doing my live stream speaking about Kyle Walker leaving Manchester City, and speaking about, of course, the big news that we've had in the last hour. Benjamin Pavard. Sounds only fitting on Bastille Day that Manchester City get linked with a French player. World Cup winner Benjamin Pavard could well be coming to the Manchester City team. Exciting. So before I do crack on with this video, firstly, can you all see me and hear me okay? Every time I use StreamYard, there always seems to be some kind of problem, whether that be an audio problem or a visual problem. Can you all hear me and see me? Please let me know in the live chat so I know that you can all see me and hear me all right, so we can crack on with what there is to talk about. Excuse me. So yeah, thanks so much for everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. That'd be much appreciated. Subscribe as well if you're new around here. Social media links, they're in the description below. If you want to go follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. And I can see a few of you guys just asking for how can you vote for JSGC for the Manchester City Best Content Creator. Well, the link should be at the top of my description. I did put it there. I've also pinned it in the live chat. I'm also going to paste it across for you guys in the chat. There you go. Just go and press that link and go and vote for me on there. The voting does close to that very soon. So if you do want to go and check that out, then that would be much appreciated. Now, nobody seems to be letting me know if they can hear me, see me okay. So I'm going to presume that everything's all fine. Everyone can hear me and see me absolutely fine, which is brilliant. Good to hear, good to see. So we're going to crack on, and we're going to speak about first Kyle Walker. Big news in terms of Kyle Walker. So we've had news come out today after it was previously being believed that Kyle Walker was going to stay at Manchester City. He'd been ignoring Bayern Munich all summer. He'd gone on his holidays. They'd said they're interested in signing him. They wanted to try and make that happen. They didn't hear anything then past Kyle Walker from there, and they presumed that that was him not interested in a move there. And just as his holiday's coming to an end, because pre-season starts for Manchester City on Monday, all the players this weekend will be making their way back to Manchester. They'll be making their way back to the City Football Academy, and the players will be back in training from Monday. For Wednesday, so next Wednesday, the Manchester City squad are going to fly out to Far East Asia for their upcoming pre-season tour. Interestingly, we do play Bayern Munich as well, so that could be very interesting. Kyle Walker could be featuring in that game, but it could be for Bayern Munich rather than for Manchester City. So, yeah, Kyle Walker apparently has given word, the green light's what it's been described as, the green light to Bayern Munich to say, come and get me. I'm happy to move there. They're still waiting for the final details, so personal terms aren't fully agreed yet. They still need to hold discussions with Kyle Walker's entourage. They need to get all that sorted. And once that's in place and personal terms are sorted, Bayern Munich will get in contact with Manchester City, and they will then start to look to try and sign Kyle Walker from City. Now, what's so interesting about this transfer is the fact that Manchester City could well be interested in selling Kyle Walker, but could be doing a swap. This could be another Danilo and João Cancelo situation. We had that a few years back with Juventus. We had Danilo. We ended up letting him go. He left Manchester City, and we did 2 separate transfers. It was kind of a swap, but Cancelo playing for Juventus at the time. He went over to Manchester City. Juventus paid for Danilo, and that transfer was sorted that way. And that could be a similar situation here. Bayern Munich give Manchester City money to sign Kyle Walker. Manchester City will give Bayern Munich money to sign Benjamin Pavard. That's the simple situation. Benjamin Pavard is actively looking for a move away from Bayern Munich. He won't sign a new deal with them, all to do with his position. He's not happy with where he's being played. Does he want to play as a right back? Does he want to play as a full back? Does he want to play as a centre back? Can he play elsewhere? That remains to be seen. Apparently, though, and this is pretty key, Manchester City, that very interesting. Manchester City, they're keen to get a deal done for Benjamin Pavard. According to Fabrizio Romano, Manchester City are interested in making that transfer happen. Now, Juventus, they're interested in Pavard. Also believed that Manchester United, of course, not got any scouts. They like to use whoever Manchester City are getting linked with for them to make their transfers. They think Man City are getting linked. Man City want to sign them. They must be good. So we're going to try and sign them instead and hope for the best. They are also interested in signing Benjamin Pavard as well from Bayern Munich. So a very interesting situation that's ever developing. Of course, when I do get the latest information for you guys, I'll keep you up to date with my daily transfer updates. Already put out today's one if you want to go and check that out once I've ended this stream. Going to be live for a good 15, 20 minutes here. So once the stream's ended, if you want to go and check that out, then that would be much appreciated. We'll be back again tomorrow, I'm sure, with updates on Kyle Walker and on Benjamin Pavard as well. Now, English Dawn makes a really good point. Says Benjamin Pavard, not as fast as Kyle Walker, but will make up for it in different ways. And that's going to be a good topic of conversation. So Benjamin Pavard, he isn't as quick as Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's getting older. He will lose his pace. Give it 2 or 3 seasons and Kyle Walker's pace will be gone. Kyle Walker isn't the best of defenders. He isn't the best defender that Manchester City have got. But what Kyle Walker offers Manchester City right now is Kyle Walker is a quick player. And there will become games, and there has been games in the past. There was games just a few months ago, a couple of months ago, Real Madrid, Kyle Walker did a brilliant job on Vinicius Jr., one of the best wingers in the world. Man marked him for 2 legs out of the game. He is an exceptional player, Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker, for that reason, for them big, important games against the big, important players, the really quick, speedy wingers, Kyle Walker will be a massive loss for Manchester City. But I want to refer you guys to Man City's performance in the quarterfinals of the Champions League against yours truly, Bayern Munich. Kyle Walker didn't play. It was Akanji on that right-hand side. Akanji was sensational, absolutely brilliant, offered a different dimension to Manchester City's game, and he did a brilliant job in keeping class players like Serge Gnabry, like Leroy Sané, like Sadio Mane, kept them quiet. Kingsley Coman as well. It was a brilliant, brilliant effort from Akanji. Man City do have the players to cope without Kyle Walker. Stones can cover on the right-hand side as well. There are good options there for Manchester City. So this link with Benjamin Pavard, I'm wondering, is Akanji just going to be that option across the whole of defence where he can play on the right, on the left and through the centre, and Pavard's going to be used pretty much as a like-for-like with Kyle Walker, with Man City liking this back 3 or back 4 with 4 centre-backs, with how Man City like to play. Is that going to suit Benjamin Pavard? Is Benjamin Pavard going to be happy to be rotated at Manchester City? That remains to be seen. But as Snape says there, and a point that English Dawn was making as well, makes some good points there, is that Benjamin Pavard's got something a little bit different, something Man City do not have right now. He is a player from a dead ball situation, pinging the ball from one side to the other. Excellent. Balls into the box. Excellent. If Manchester City offensively are attacking against a low block team, a team that's parking the bus, and you need a player that's able to whip balls into the box from the right-hand side or can cover on the left-hand side, then Benjamin Pavard is an option. Definitely. And he's a really good player at that. Do I have many concerns? Well, the price being quoted for Pavard's 30 million euros, 25 million pounds. Can't really go wrong for a World Cup winner for 25 million pounds. 27 years old, going into his prime. You can probably get a good 4 or 5 years. To me, it's a transfer that does make sense. But Make no mistake about it. Kyle Walker leaving Manchester City is a massive loss. He is a massive loss to the club. He's got a great personality. He's a player that's influential in the dressing room. Players respect what Kyle Walker has to say. They respect him as a person. He is for Manchester City anyway, when his head is on it and he's on that field, he is a fantastic defender. Seen it for England, seen it for Manchester City. When we signed him from Tottenham Hotspur, it was the reason we signed him from Tottenham Hotspur, because he is a fantastic football player. And to me, I think Kyle Walker's still got a good 2 or 3 years left in him. Like I said, his main attribute is his pace. When that pace goes, there are better defenders out there. Doesn't mean he's a bad player, though. He's not. Good with his ball distribution, quick with his pace, brilliant with his man marking. He's adaptable. He's versatile. He's a fantastic player. And to me, he will be a big loss. If Bernardo Silva leaves, he'll be a big loss. If Riyad Mahrez leaves Manchester City, he will be a big loss. But Kyle Walker leaving, my biggest concern I was having here is Man City may not look to replace him. And I think if you let him leave, and I'm almost certain that Cancelo will leave Manchester City, you need a player who can help cover on that right-hand side. And Pavard will be able to do that for a good, affordable deal. I can see some people putting out there about Hakimi. Hakimi, not heard his name being put out there. I don't think that's a viable option for Manchester City, certainly not in terms of the finances. As much as I rate Hakimi, I think he's a fantastic player and I'd love him at Manchester City. I just don't think that's the direction Man City will go in this window, and it's certainly not the direction that Man City tend to do their transfers. This Benjamin Pavard transfer is exactly how Man City like to do their transfers. It's affordable. It's a quick deal to get done. You let one senior professional leave and you bring another senior professional in. And that will get the job done as far as I'm concerned for Manchester City. I genuinely do think Benjamin Pavard, don't know about you guys, but I think he's a really good player. And I can certainly think of a lot worse players we could replace Kyle Walker with than Benjamin Pavard. And as I said, replacing players, we don't tend to do like for like. We tend to look for another player who does a different role for Manchester City. If Man City needs somebody to man-mark a player out the game on that right-hand side, we've already got somebody who can do that. Manuel Akanji, brilliant. He's already done it for Manchester City, and he can do it again. So Manchester City don't necessarily need that player. There isn't anybody out there like Kyle Walker who's quick, who can run up and down that wing all day, every day. So it means if you're going to bring a player in, you need somebody else to come in who could do a different job. And Benjamin Pavard, as I said, he's a player, offensively, very good. He knows how to shoot. He knows how to score goals. He scored that cracking goal at the World Cup back in 2018 when France won the World Cup. He is a brilliant player. He knows how to score goals. He knows how to get assists. He knows how to cross the ball. He knows how to ping balls across. He's great with his distribution. He's a versatile player. Pep Guardiola, this might be the most important thing, Pep Guardiola wants him. And that's good enough for me. If you get the Pep Guardiola seal of approval, you are good enough. Mark my words, you are absolutely 100% good enough in my complete and utter honest opinion. Rightio, we'll speak about some other transfers that have been knocking around over the last week. It's been a week. I can't believe it's been a week already since I got to sit down and chat with you guys. So if there's any transfers you want me to speak about, get them in the chat and we'll have a good little chat about them. So we'll start off with Riyad Mahrez. £30 million bids come in this week, according to Sam Lee from Saudi Arabia. Al Aliyah, the team that are pushing hardest for Riyad Mahrez at this moment in time. Riyad Mahrez, his stance very clear. He still feels like he's got something to offer Manchester City. He wants to compete at the top end of European football for at least a couple more seasons. His contract with Manchester City isn't up for another couple of seasons as well. And so I can see Riyad Mahrez, in my honest opinion, I can see him staying at Manchester City rather than leaving. But as you see him with his transfer window, it's unpredictable. Anything can happen at a moment's turn, and you have got to be prepared if that does happen. If Riyad Mahrez leaves Manchester City in this window, Man City have to be prepared. Because if we're not, we're going to get stung. We don't want to allow Cole Palmer, for example, to go out on loan and then sell Riyad Mahrez. It leaves us short. Replacing Mahrez, an attacking player, will be much more expensive than a Benjamin Pavard replacing Kyle Walker. Mark my words. So Manchester City here need to be very careful about the situation. They're being careful in central midfield. £90 million for Declan Rice didn't work out. And because it didn't work out, we're happy to go with what we've got. We're happy to go with James McAtee, which I'm very happy with. Give him pre-season, see how he gets along. Go from there. I'm very happy with that. But Riyad Mahrez leaving Manchester City puts a lot of stress onto this. But Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva, there's your replacements, but they need to stay injury-free. And an injury to a Bernardo or a Phil Foden, and all of a sudden Man City's squad, through just one injury to one player who can cover two different positions, all of a sudden in two different positions, Man City look very short. And that's what Man City need to be careful of. And in terms of the depth, people are always concerned about Manchester City's squad depth. We haven't got too much depth. We've got a good 14, 15 core first-team players. Dig a little bit deeper, and it's not really there for Manchester City. Because of that, to me, we've got some high-quality young players. Lots of big money's been chucked out there for these high-quality young players. Shane Charles, just the latest of them. We've seen him sold this week to Southampton for £10.5 million. Could rise to as high as £15 million. But there's high-quality young players. James McAtee is a brilliant option for Manchester City. Had a great season last season with Sheffield United on loan. We've turned down a £30 million bid this week for James McAtee. Keep him at Manchester City. Competing with the first-team squad. See how he gets along. There's some top-quality depth. Cole Palmer as well started to get into his stride once we gave him a bit of game time. You give him a few more minutes and give him a few more games for Manchester City, and all of a sudden, Riyad Mahrez leaving Manchester City, you've got them positions already filled up with high-quality young players. We don't have to go out there and spend 70, 80 million pounds for a player that's going to be a bit part player, because, quite frankly, Bernardo Silva is Manchester City's starting right winger. Phil Foden is an option for Man City both on the right and on the left. Jack Grealish is going to be started on that left-hand side. So you don't want to go out there and spend 70, 80 million pounds on a player who isn't going to be starting games, who isn't improving the squad and signing the depth. You don't need to spend loads of money on depth. In fact, you can use the young players. If they're good enough, then they're good enough, if you get where I'm coming from with that. So, yeah, I think Manchester City could end up just being a little bit short here and need to just be very careful. City are always very careful in the transfer market. So I have absolutely no concerns about Manchester City being prepared when it comes to the transfer market, being prepared for the start of the season, and being prepared by the end of the transfer window. I think the biggest problem you've got with the summer transfer window, it's always so exciting because anything can happen. It goes on so long, and it is just that. Anything can happen. You can go out there and sign anybody. It's exciting signing players, but it's also can be equally as devastating if you're losing your top talent. And that's where you need to be making sure that you're replacing quality with quality. And that's what Man City need to get right. Now, Nadir asks, when do I think we're going to get Gvardiol? The $1 million question, my friend. The $1 million question. Let me sit here, have a drink, and have a think about how I'm going to answer this question. You want a bold prediction here? I don't think we'll sign Josko Gvardiol beginning of August. Man City always seem to do a bit of business at end of July, beginning of August. I think Gvardiol will be done then. It's so complicated. The fee's big. I don't want to cause panic. I don't want to say things to unsettle people. And I certainly don't want to get people talking about things that necessarily might not be the case here. But this Gvardiol saga, this situation, I am 95% sure Manchester City signed Josko Gvardiol. But there's 5% of me that thinks this deal could collapse. And it will only collapse for one of two reasons. The first being Leipzig can't replace Josko Gvardiol. The second reason will be that massive fee. 100 million euros. We don't know what's happening with our defenders. Kyle Walker could be on his way out. We need a defender. All of a sudden, Man City are under pressure to make that Josko Gvardiol transfer happen. However, Laporte, we don't know what's happening with Aymeric Laporte either. So Manchester City, we have the money to make the transfer happen, but it's all about how much you're prepared to pay. And if Man City aren't prepared to pay 100 million euros and Leipzig won't budge on 100 million euros, it's a stalemate. It's like the Harry Kane situation. Daniel Levy wanted the price for Harry Kane. Manchester City weren't willing to pay the price, but were willing to pay around 20, 30 million less. They went in with the offer. There was always verbals going on. It went on for 3-4 weeks, and then nothing materialised. And Man City ended up just settling, I say just, we spent £100 million, but settling on Jack Grealish instead. So Josko Gvardiol, to me, is a very similar situation. And I have seen situations like this before where Man City have pulled out of the deal. I don't think they are going to, but it is something that could happen. And with Kyle Walker leaving, I think Man City do need to bring in at least one defender in this window, in my complete honest opinion. I am 95% certain that that will be Josko Gvardiol. It's complicated due to the fee, Leipzig needing a replacement, and it's just been so quiet out there that it's to me, it's not imminent. It's not going to be happening in the next week. It's not going to be happening, in my opinion. City will struggle to get this done whilst we're on pre-season. I think this will get done much closer to Man City playing Arsenal in the Community Shield, and it will be done in the next week, for example. So I reckon, my personal opinion, I think it will get done, but I think beginning of August is when it will get done. A few of you guys just asking for a little bit of an update on Carlos Borges. Not really heard too much about Carlos Borges at this moment in time for Manchester City. It's gone a little bit quiet on that. Man City have been very focused on selling young players. We've seen Shea Charles leave this week. Carlos Borges, the last we heard of that, Man City open to a permanent sale. We know that Southampton are very interested. We know Borussia Dortmund are very interested. We know there's interest from the Premier League. Nottingham Forest name has also been put out there. And with that all being said and done, it means that Manchester City could, if they wanted to, sell Carlos Borges. £10 million is roughly the price that we're looking for, and could put that towards our net spend and potentially bringing another player in. Man City could also choose to loan Carlos Borges. Do not rule that one out. Maybe with an option, maybe with an obligation to buy. It's more likely if it is loaned and there is some kind of fee involved at the end of the loan deal, it's more likely to be an option rather than an obligation to buy. I think when you're dealing with young players, it's got to be an option rather than an obligation, in my complete honest opinion. So when I do get the latest on that, I will keep you guys up to date. At the moment, there's interest in Borges. Clubs are currently, I think Man City are just dipping into the market to see whom is interested and where Man City want to choose to send, of course, Carlos Borges to. Because Man City, as I said, don't rule out Man City loaning him. And if it is a loan, Man City do have a say on where he will end up and what Man City or how Man City want him to be utilised. So I think Man City just offering him out in the market, seeing who's interested, what the proposals are. They'll assess the proposals, and then, of course, they'll accept a bid. One thing I am confident of is I don't think Carlos Borges, by the end of this month, will be a Manchester City player. Whether that is a loan deal or a permanent transfer remains to be seen. I don't know about you guys, but if Cole Palmer was being loaned out or sold by Manchester City, update on Cole Palmer, if it is to leave Manchester City, it's believed it's going to be a loan deal rather than a permanent transfer. If he does leave, it's believed Oscar Bobb's going to be promoted to the first team squad and training around the first team squad. I personally would have liked to have seen Carlos Borges have that spot, but I'm not in charge, so there we go. Luke, thanks for tuning in. Asks a very interesting question here. Asks, what are my thoughts on Kyle Walker plus £30 million to go and sign Alphonso Davies? Now, Alphonso Davies is a brilliant player. He is a player I would love at Manchester City, and what I was just speaking about there, and Gvardiol and 95%, what happens if we dip into that 5%? Well, Man City might need an alternative. And Alphonso Davies could well be a really good alternative for Manchester City. Man City want to save a bit of cash. I don't know how much Alphonso Davies would be available for, but if Man City wanted to save a little bit of cash, you've got the negotiations here with Kyle Walker. I think his value's around, £15 million or so. Man City have a little bit of leverage when it comes to the potential negotiations of signing any player that they want who might be interested in joining Manchester City from Bayern Munich. So we'll have to wait and see. I personally reckon, though, at this moment in time, right now, I reckon Benjamin Pavard over Alphonso Davies is Manchester City's direction that they are heading in. Cal, thanks for tuning in. Ask, why don't we just start João Cancelo? Well, I think the biggest problem you got with Cancelo, is his attitude. I don't think he was willing to work hard. He was upset at not getting picked. His attitude got called into question at Bayern Munich as well. I can't imagine, unless his attitude's seriously changed and he's willing to really knuckle down, work hard, make himself versatile, listen to the coaches, listen to Pep, and get himself back into the good books, and it can be done, then I'm happy for him to stay at Manchester City. But I have my doubts about it. But if he's willing to fight for his place at Manchester City and he wants to stay, and Man City are happy to keep hold of João Cancelo, we can find a way of utilising him in the squad, then, of course, I think Man City should be exploring all options, in my complete honest opinion. So, Simon, that's what I was just saying. Why, if Mahrez ends up going, Cole Palmer should be staying at Manchester City, in my opinion. English Dawn asks, Pep will use Alvarez to his strengths. I'll speak about that in just one moment. Blue Moon, thank you very much for that. Says he voted for me tonight for the great show. Thank you very much for that. Hoping that I'll be able to bring home the award. I'm happy just to be nominated. If you want to go and vote for me as the best Manchester City content creator, the link is in the description. It's also pinned in the live chat. I'll post it in the live chat as well. Go and vote for me on there, the best Manchester City content creator. And that's quite a title. Just being nominated, saying I've been nominated as the best Manchester City content creator out there, makes me very happy. I've had a couple of really good nights sleep thinking people, wow, really do enjoy the content that I'm making. People are really enjoying and voting for me, and it's surreal. It's absolutely surreal to interact with you guys. There is, to me, no better feeling. No better feeling. We're all Manchester City fans at the end of the day. We all want to achieve the same thing, and that's to see Manchester City be very successful whilst enjoying every single moment of the footballing life that we can. And that's what being a Manchester City fan is. It's a roller coaster ride. And it's my pleasure to be able to keep you guys up to date with daily Manchester City transfer updates. It's my pleasure to be able to do live streams to keep you up to date with all the latest news and live watch along. It's my pleasure to do previews for you guys and match reactions and match reviews as well. So the amount of support that's been shown to me here has been nothing short of absolutely sensational. So whilst I've got you guys here, I just wanted to say a massive thank you. And if we can win that award tonight, that would be absolutely brilliant. If not, I've been nominated and people really enjoy the content. It's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. It's a win-win. And Blue Moon, thanks so much for the support. It is much appreciated. Oscar Bob. It's interesting with Oscar Bob, isn't it? If he's going to be given minutes during pre-season is the question, because pre-season's really interesting because Man City don't play that many games. So we don't really have many games to be able to rotate the team, give the youngsters their chance. Ideally, I want to give the youngsters 2 or 3 games to showcase what they can do, and then give the first team players 2 or 3 games to get back up to match sharpness and match fitness, ready for the start of the season. We don't play that many games, and it's just how Man City tend to do things. So we'll see. We'll see who gets their opportunity. It'll be very interesting to see who Manchester City start, who Man City are given the minutes to, and what the thinking is behind the team and for Pep Guardiola as well. Callas, what do I think of Savinho going to Girona? Top talent. I can't believe the amount of interest. Sporting Braga, prestigious European Portuguese team. AS Roma, massive Italian team. PSV Eindhoven, very successful Dutch team as well. And it's Girona, using their City Football Group contacts, that are making the loan signing happen. I'm hoping, I really hope, for once, Girona utilise a Manchester City player we cannot afford during these peak young players' years, 18, 19 years old. They want to be playing regular first-team football. They want to be competing in the men's game. And the only way they can do that is through regular starts and regular minutes. And we can't afford for him just to go to Spain and sunbathe literally on the bench, because that might be great for his vitamin D, but it's not so great for his football development. So we will see. John asking the important questions. It's a deep question, that, isn't it? Is there life after the treble? I don't know about anybody else, but over the last week or so, I've just started to get more into the season. I'm getting excited. Ticket information for the home games has come out for Manchester City today. Got my eyes on some good games and some good vlogs. I'm excited. Covering transfer news, big breaking stories as well. All we need now is the really nice weather. We've not got it in the UK right now. We're currently sat in a really bit low pressure and rubbish weather, rain and 18 degrees. It's peak July. Where's the nice hot weather? I say that, I'd be moaning if it was nice and hot. Heat in the UK is horrible. So there we go. Summer just seems to be disappearing. And with the summer disappearing means football season well and truly coming back. So looking forward to that one. Looking forward to that. Rightio. Some people have just been commenting about Benjamin Mendy. Saying that he's been found not guilty. So just bear with me just 1 second. Let me have a look. I know that he'd been found not guilty on most of the charges. There was a couple that were remaining. So let me just have a look. Yeah, so he's been found not guilty. I think has he been cleared of all charges? They don't seem to have been deliberating that long, the jury on that. So, yeah, he's been found not guilty there, Benjamin Mendy. Benjamin Mendy, of course, has been released by Manchester City this summer. That had been a very interesting thing to have happened if he was still under contract at Manchester City. It'll be interesting now with him being found not guilty, what happens with Benjamin Mendy. I imagine, pure speculation with regards to a footballing term, I imagine Benjamin Mendy being French will, I don't think he's been allowed to go home. So I imagine he'll probably want to go home to France and go and visit his family and friends who he's probably not seen for a little while. So Benjamin Mendy there has been found not guilty. And as I said, he's been released from Manchester City. And I can confirm that JSGC will be making no further comments on that one, as he is no longer a Manchester City player. There we go. So we think we've got time here to speak. We've got 4 more minutes. I think we've got time to speak about maybe one more transfer. If you want to leave it in the comments, we've got a bit of a weather update. Dawn, English Dawn, let me know that Southern Europe, Spain, it's hit like 45 degrees in Seville, hasn't it? The frying pan of Spain. It's been roasting. It has, yeah. North Africa as well. It's been very hot. Seems to be all the high pressure and heat waves happening about 500 to 1,000 miles further south than where I am at this moment in time. I don't know where everyone's tuning in from, whether that might be a long distance or not to you guys, but living in Europe, that's a good couple of countries down. So South France onto the Mediterranean, scorching, lovely weather, just in time for the summer holidays as well. Whereas the UK just seems to be stuck. The weather system seems to be just dodging around the UK, literally touching northern France and heading back up into Scandinavia and dipping right back up and going into the North Atlantic. And the UK is just left in limbo with a cool 18, 19 degrees, like 12 degrees overnight. A little bit lower than what's expected. I think the bigger problem they're having is the system isn't moving, and it's causing a lot of problems in Southern Europe, actually, with the heat wave going on. So, like I said, we could have the heat wave going on here. It could be 30, 35, 37, 38 degrees we had last year, and I'd be moaning, I'd be sweating, I'd be saying to you guys, hate this so much. Get me the 18 degrees and rain. Sounds to me like that weather is the perfect kind of weather to have a swimming pool, 38 degrees, relax by the pool, cool off in the swimming pool, keep going for a dip every hour or two, catch up on your vitamin D, chill out and not do anything. At the moment, UK, not having any of that one. Not any bit of it. Not any bit of it. Right, Cal asked the final question here. How much do I reckon we're going to spend by the end of the window? Well, we already got a good deal for Mateo Kovacic, haven't we? How much do I reckon we're going to spend? I mean, if we're spending 100 million euros on bringing in Josko Gvardiol, Manchester City have already spent 25 million quid bringing in Mateo Kovacic. I mean, we're already looking at around 110 million pounds there. If we want to bring in Pavard, it might cost 30 million. We might be looking at just shy of 150. So I think I'm going to stick to that. I think I'm going to go 140 to 150 million pounds, depending on who leaves. If Bernardo leaves, it complicates everything. Everything. So I think that there's so many big, important transfers to keep you guys up to date with. So we'll see. Luke makes a good comment there. Pedro Porro, we made a mistake letting Spurs have him instead. Traditional fullbacks, and I think the days of Man City having fullbacks under Pep Guardiola seem to be gone. If you're a fullback, you need to be able to play centre-back. If you can play defensive midfield as well, always a bonus. So you're versatile. Can you invert? They are the big questions. So there we go, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's another transfer show. It's episode number 4 and been equally as popular as ever. So thank you so much for you guys tuning in. It is much appreciated. If you do want to go and vote for me on the City Extra content creator awards, so it is voting for the best Manchester City content creator. If you want to go and vote for yours truly, JSGC, it'd be much appreciated. Links in the description, pinned on my live chat. Also in the live chat as well. Go and vote for me on there. That would be much appreciated. Thank you so much to City Extra for nominating me for the best Manchester City content creator for this year. Much appreciated. Go and check that out and go and vote for me. That would be much appreciated. Thank you to everybody that has shown a lot of support to my channel for the last year. And thank you to everybody that's shown support to my channel since its creation, 2016. Been doing this for a long time. It's good to get some recognition. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I really am. So, yeah, like I said, do go vote for me if you so wish. Leave a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you're watching this after the live stream. If you're watching this right now, let me know in the live chat. Also, don't forget as well to leave a thumbs up, subscribe. Social media links, they're in the description below. And if you want to go and I was going to say sliding across. They're not sliding across. They're just in the description. If you want to go and click the link and go and follow me on there, that would be much appreciated, along with my TikTok link. And yeah, I'll see you again real soon for the next Manchester City video. We're back again for another transfer update. I'm just letting you guys know what we've got coming up. We've got a transfer update coming up tomorrow. We've got some other bits of content coming up across my other partner channels this weekend as well. Got the very latest from when I went to Iceland. Been doing plenty of videos over there. Got another video for that coming out probably tomorrow as well. Over on the football channel, we've got a non-league prediction coming up. We've got a League One prediction coming up. My Championship and my Premier League predictions, they'll be going on the football channel as well. All links to my partner channels, they're in the description. Go and like and subscribe. And I'll see you all again real soon. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.